I'm back again. Obviously I did expect to be back last week, but I had some really annoying storage issues which really sucked because I really liked the video. It was a nice little get ready with me, but don't worry, I will do another one probably maybe on Sunday because I have a shift at work on Sunday and it's a day shift, so if I get up at a reasonable time I'll have plenty of time to do that video, so I might do, because I have like a lot of updates, like things have really started moving and it's all very exciting for me at the moment, so I do have a lot to discuss. One of the things I just wanted to say right now, because I'm very, as you can tell, excited about it, on Tuesday, which was yesterday, I put in my UCAS university application. I got it done. I am now officially a uni applicant. All that's left to do is for my college to review my application and send it off. So fingers crossed I get what I want from that. I'm very excited, and I've also got really great, I read my references and they were so good, and like it went really well, and I got my like little review back for the last term. I think they call it a semester in other countries, but for the winter term I got that back, and I didn't think I was doing very well actually, but it was already positive, so I've been in a good mood so far, which is great. I just wanted to say that. So I'm doing a little like this right now, but anyways, so I decided that I didn't really see an opportunity this week other than Sunday to do another get ready with me, to redo that video, so I figured that I would swap the schedule around, and instead of making you guys wait for Sunday, I would go closer to my original date and I would do a video that I was going to do after the get ready with me, which was a book related video. So I figured we'd do that tonight, and then I'll upload that either tomorrow afternoon or tonight, which means it'll probably upload by like tomorrow morning or something, so Thursday. But yeah, we'll see. But right now it is Wednesday evening. So yeah. I'm gonna start by talking about the books I read in 2024. And I've ordered these in sort of my favourite to my least favourite. Now, I didn't really read a crazy amount. I read what I think is a reasonable amount, because you see a lot of people on the internet being like, oh, I read like 50 books this year. If you read under like 20 books, what are you doing? Like, people read as much as they want to read. Like, reading point blank is a good thing. Why should we be discouraging people from doing that? Anyways, that's my hot take of the day. So I actually read this one at the very end of the year, like I finished it on New Year's, but yeah, I think it's like my favourite book ever that I've read ever in my life so far. I watched the movie first, which was from 1969 actually. It was produced in Czechoslovakia, because the book is Czechoslovakian, but it was made by this little company. But I really enjoyed it, and it was a book, so I thought I'd get the book. And that is Valerie and Her Week of Wonders. It was so good. I actually found it to be a lot better than the movie, because the movie is only available, obviously because it was made in like the 60s, in subtitles, and it's obviously quite a Alice in Wonderland style confusing fantasy sort of plot line, so it was quite hard to follow with the like subtitles. But I found this a lot easier to follow and to actually understand the plot. And it's got these, the cover is so gorgeous as well. Not only is it perfect for this, but it's got this like headless woman, and then on the inside, that's the author. And it's got some other illustrations in it as well. I read this in about a week, which for me is like really quickly to read a book, but it wasn't too long. There's one of the drawings there, but it wasn't very long, and it was sort of just like I could not put it down. Like, there's the one of the headless woman. It's like Alice in Wonderland, but more like darker. It's like a darker Alice in Wonderland, but it's set in the Czechoslovakian countryside and has themes of religious abuse and a darker take of coming of age, which I really like, because it's like, it's coming of age but from a young woman in like the I don't know when exactly it's set, but I know it was written in 1932, published in the 1940s, so in the early 20th century, like at that sort of perspective. I don't want to get like political, but you know, I have my stances as a woman, so, and it's sort of is a darker take on that sort of coming of age and how that can sort of be very uncomfortable for young girls to sort of learn their place in society and learn how they're looked at, especially in the 20th century. You know, obviously things are a lot better today, but sort of just to learn how people view them. But it was really, really good. I really enjoyed it, so there was that. I think that was definitely my favourite. And then I read this, which is my second favourite. I also watched the film of The Virgin Suicides. I cannot pronounce his last name for the life of me. I really loved this copy as well. I read this one in a week as well, which this is slightly longer, so that was again. But I read it while I brought it. We went to in the summer we went to Crete in Greece, and you know, I'd been going through like a hard time in the beginning of the year, and so I was really looking forward to that holiday, and I was looking forward to getting back into some of my old hobbies that I'd sort of lost my love for while going through a lot of the stuff. And one of those things was reading, because I was like, I had the literal day before we left, I had like some mock exams, so I went out into town, and it was like one of my first paychecks as well, which is really funny. I was like, I'm gonna get some books and I'm gonna get some clothes to take to Greece, and this was one of them. It had been on my read list for a while, so I read it. It was so good. I'm so glad I read it before I watched the movie, because like Sofia Coppola did a fantastic job with the film. It was so good. So I really, really enjoyed that. It was amazing. I found that a lot of it resonated with me personally as well. That's a theme you're gonna see a lot, is sort of stuff that I connected with, especially characters like Cecilia Lisbon, who was sort of dubbed as the weird girl, and sort of, oh, she's a dreamer, she's not fit for this world, and just the way that she was treated. And I found that it was just a really interesting perspective to look at things from, so I really, really enjoyed that. So the next thing I read throughout the autumn, and I have 2 copies of this now actually. I will show you that other copy in a later video, but I read Sylvia Plath's The Bell Jar. I have been meaning to get around to this for so long. Oh my gosh, it was so good. It was so good. I mean, I have to confess, some of it has aged poorly, but it is from the 1950s. Like, most things from the 1950s have aged poorly, I must admit. But it was to like read something from like the 50s, 60s about like a woman going through like a mental health problem, and for it to sort of resonate so deeply, I think says a lot about it as well. It was, I want to reread it at some point actually, because I just feel like if I reread it, I might like be able to connect with it even deeper and understand it more, because I will admit I read half of it, and then I stopped reading for a while because I got busy with my college work, and then I picked it up again, so I feel like I might need to give it another read. But it was so good, and I have this illustrated copy of me that I did show in my last video, but it was really good. So the next book, I read this one in a week as well, because this one was very short, and again watched the movie after I read this one. I don't know what that noise was. But it is Susanna Kayson's Girl Interrupted. This is like iconic. This needs no introduction. The movie was so good. I love Winona Ryder. Like, she's my favourite actress. Like, I've watched Beetlejuice, Heathers. I've watched all sorts with her in. Stranger Things, obviously. But this was so good. And like, I've talked about my love for this book on this channel a few times, but there's something about this kind of writing that comes from women who have suffered from like any sort of issue that I think just resonates with me. I don't know why, I can't explain why, but it just hits. It's good. And the fact that it's based on a true story as well, I think gives it that like grip. Like it's really good. And then I read the iconic My Year of Rest and Relaxation. It pained me to put this one so far down on my list of like books that I read. Like, I liked all of these books, don't get me wrong, just because there was not a single book I read this year that I did not like. I liked them all. They were all really good. I enjoyed them all a lot. So I think I only have one book in my shelves right now that I have read that I did not like. I don't know. I mean, I'd rather not talk about like specifically negative things. Like, I don't want to do a video dedicated to just hating on this one specific book. If you go on Goodreads and look it up, you can see the reviews already have the same criticisms I did, so you know, it's fine. It's been said before, but this is My Year of Rest and Relaxation by Ottessa. I can't even pronounce that. I'm sorry, I have dyslexia. This has been so iconic. On a lot of these books that I read this year were like all over my Tumblr feed, and they had so many people talking about them, and I was like, oh my god, maybe I should try that. Maybe I should give it a go. And I did, and I really actually enjoyed it. I found that it was I liked the plot. I thought it was quite original. It was quite like a original idea, and I really liked how it was explored, and the relationships between the characters, specifically the main character doesn't have a name, but her and her best friend Reva, their relationship, their dynamic, the family dynamics, I thought they were all really interesting. But I really enjoyed that. And then I read this one. Was crazy for me because I read it in a week. Like, I got back from Greece and I had ordered this. I'm sorry if you can hear my dog barking. I would stop the recording, but I gotta keep going. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. He's a nightmare. He does this every night. My mum lets him out before she goes to bed, and he just goes out and he barks and he barks and he barks. But anyways, this book is part of a trilogy of, I actually met the author, and I've talked about the trilogy on this channel before. I've got the first copy. I actually met her, and she was so nice, and she signed the book. So I have signed, I met her. But she was so nice. She complimented my hair because I had this dyed blonde hair, and she was really sweet. And she gave this really amazing talk on like diversity in books, especially for young people, and how she growing up didn't see people of like her like background. And I think that's really cool, and I think that's like, yeah, that is something we need to see more of, especially it's very important for young people to, you know, to have something to resonate with, and you know, I just think it's important. Anyways, so oh yeah, my policy on any comments being disrespectful about anything I've said on this video, I don't even run a one strike policy. If you're in there being disrespectful, you will be gone. Blocked, deleted, gone. No second chances, no nada. I will not be responding. You will just be gone. So if you disagree with me, and that makes you mad enough to not think, oh well, agree to disagree, whatever, then maybe you should go to somebody else's channel. Okay, peace. Let's keep it fun, let's keep it light. It's a new year. Anyways. Oh dear. I somehow always end up doing this when I talk about books. I don't know. But this was the third edition to this. I didn't even know she was releasing a third copy, so I was really excited. So I bought it when it came out, and it came when I got back from Greece, and I was like really sad when I got home from Greece, because it was like straight back into college and back into normal life, and it was like, oh, back to this again. But so I was like, you know what, spend the week reading as much as I can, and I got through this in a week, and oh, it was so good. It had like, I'm just gonna pop it back on my shelf. Also, I love the cover. I love the covers of all of these books. They've like got iridescence on them, and I really love, like on the first cover, I really love her eyeliner. I love it. It's so pretty. The covers are stunning, and I love how it's got these like coloured edges. That's one thing I love when books have, is the like decorative edges. I'm just gonna pop it back with the rest of the copies. But it had, the character in the book has panic attacks, and I have semi-regular panic attacks, and the description of these like panic attacks in the book, like I was crying reading this book because it was like, oh my god, I relate to that. So that was just really nice for me to read something that sort of I could relate to. It's always nice to have that. So those were the books I read, and now I'm gonna get into my to read list for the year. Now this, I am kind of put myself on a New Year's resolution of saving a bit more of my money, and so no new books until I've completed this list is my policy. And if I've completed the list, there are still books I'll have yet to read in my shelf, so try to get through those before. So I'm gonna start with, for some reason the thing is the wrong way around, so I'm just gonna turn this the other way around. The first book I'm actually currently reading is Valley of the Dolls. I also saw this one recommended a lot on Tumblr and a lot by people I follow online, and I was kind of unsure, but like I looked at the plot of it and I was like, you know what, that looks good, and it is a modern classic, and I'm kind of going through this phase of like reading a few more modern classics at the moment, or like 20th century books, because like I really want to get into the like 19th, 18th century books, but language back then is just too much for me. I'm dyslexic, I can't, I struggle as it is. You know, when they're describing the measurements of a room exactly, that's when I lose it. But anyways, so it's 20th century for me, and this was in, I think it was released in like, let me have a look. It was released 1966, and it's set in like the 40s or the 50s. But like, it's so far it's really good, so I'm really looking forward to getting to read more of this. So I love the cover as well. So that's the first book. The next one I already also started reading, but it is Gregory Maguire's Wicked. Obviously I went to go and see Wicked with my mum, and it was so good. I loved it so much, it was great. So I'm now reading the book, but that is what I'm going to continue with once I finish Valley of the Dolls. So far, really good book. I do have to say, if you've seen it online of people saying, oh, be careful, the book is very different to the movie, it's quite disturbing. It is. There are quite a lot of like, it's not disturbing per se, it's just definitely not appropriate for like younger kids. But I really love this cover as well, of like Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo like sort of reaching out to each other. I think it's very cool, but I'm really looking forward to getting to read more of that. And then I've been meaning to read this for so long. It is the iconic Gone Girl. I really want to watch the movie, but like I'm kind of on this whole stint of like read the book, watch the movie. That's been my routine so far, so I'm gonna try and stick to that. But this is obviously Gillian Flynn, I believe it's pronounced. But I'm very much looking forward to reading that because it's iconic, you know. So the next one is something I've been meaning to read for ages. It is The Wuthering Heights, and I have this really cool copy. I actually got this from a bookshop in Liverpool for like, I didn't have to pay for it actually, but the cost of it was £2. I got a voucher. It was really cool actually. I went to look at a talk for an English literature course at one of the Liverpool universities, and they gave us a like token thing that we could use for one of the books on their syllabus, and there's loads of books on this syllabus, mind, to get one of them for free, and I picked The Wuthering Heights, and I really love this like cover. It's really pretty. Funnily enough, I'm not actually taking literature for my degree. I'm taking creative writing, which I'm very excited about. But yeah, I did consider it because like I do love to read, but like, you know, it's not my main thing. So I'm very excited to get to this. This is in no particular order as well. Now this is another one I also made a start on. I'm like 14 pages in, but this is Sylvia Plath's journals. I also want to try reading some more of her poetry as well, because I've already read a bit of it and it's quite good. So it's her her journals. Obviously, like, she kept journals since she was in high school, so I think this might be something I just pick down and pick up alongside whatever I'm reading. So I've really enjoyed what I've read of it so far. She does definitely, like, her writing is very interesting. She has a really interesting tone and a really, like, interesting style and way of writing. But that is that. And the final one is the iconic Donna Tartt, I don't know how to pronounce it, but The Secret History. I've heard loads of people talking about this. Like, I've heard raving reviews of it, honestly, online, and I, like, heard of the plot and I thought, oh, that looks kind of good, I'll give it a go. So I'm quite excited to look at that, and I love the cover as well. It's very nice. But anyways, so that is all of the books, and like I said, I will probably upload maybe Friday morning, maybe Sunday, we will see. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you're having a great start to your new year. I will see you guys in the next video. Bye bye.